everyone. This is Mr. Informal back with another Mr. Informal podcast. I go by the name of Mr. Informal. In this latest and greatest edition of the Mr. Informal podcast, we are on 210. Yes, 210 of the Mr. Informal podcast. I hope you are doing well today. I hope you are enjoying life. And certainly, I hope you are enjoying your new years. So, as you know, Valentine's Day is coming up. It's Tuesday. The whole world is going to celebrate love. So I hope you enjoy your Valentine's Day, your night, and your night. It's going to be a busy day, especially for all those who sell flowers, chocolates, and gifts. So please do not forget to add me on Instagram, MISTERINFORMAL, and then check out my website, mrinformal.com, mrinformal.com. So these are the four topics for this Mr. Informal podcast. Keds is on sale. Number 2, Canada Goose is actually venturing out. They are spreading. They are opening more stores. Number 3, Vans is not doing so well because of shoes and also skating products. Last but not least, Under Armour is going to shift to a different products. Hopefully, late. So those are the four topics for this Mr. Informal podcast 210. And so let's go ahead and start the podcast. On to the first topic from retail.com titled Wolverine Worldwide Sells Keds to Designer Brands. Completing its plan to shed one of its subsidiary brands, Wolverine Worldwide sold Keds brand to designer brands. Shoe retailer DSW Parents Company announced Wednesday in a press release. The company said it also licensing the Hush Puppies footwear brand to designer brands, a move it made after partnering with the retailer for Hush Puppies exclusively last year. The company completes sale on February 4, and the Hush Puppies license is expected to start on July 1 and will disclose the effect of these transactions during its earnings call on February 22, the company said in a press release. In its statement, the company also said that it's considering its next move for the Wolverine leather business. I am not happy about that. Definitely not. So selling Keds and licensing Hush Puppies brand for the United States and Canada is an important step as we continue to advance our strategy to simplify the portfolio and direct research to our growth brands. We are confident this will place Wolverine on an accelerated path to improve profitability and long-term shareholder value creation, Hoffman said in a statement. Combined, these transactions will generate total cash over $90 million, including the monetization of working capital. The proceeds will be used to pay down debt and strengthen our capital structure. You see, selling Keds and also Hush Puppies to DSW is terrible. Number one, it lowers the brand reputation. It lowers the brand's equity. To those people who are, especially old people who know Keds and Hush Puppies, it's absolutely too bad that it comes to this. Not only that, the CEO is thinking about selling Wolverine leather. That means that Wolverine, we're talking about Wolverine boots, Wolverine shoes, and then also the construction workers who wear Wolverines. That might actually be sold to a different company. Not only that, the state of Detroit or the mid west is gonna be out of business basically, or they're probably gonna lay off a lot of people. And you can tell that this CEO is just all doing it because of the share, doing it for all shareholders. They're not doing it for consumer or reputation. They're not doing it. Look, I have no problem of companies expanding their business. I have no problem with that. But what I have a problem is you selling it for something low. Not only that, you thinking about selling something that Wolverine has worked for let's say maybe more than a century or even close to a century or even 100 years, whatever you want to call it. This is absolutely too bad. If the Wolverine leather business suddenly is sold out to some real estate equity or financial equity firm out there who just don't care about quality goods. And it's absolutely too bad it comes to this. So, besides acquiring Keds and concentrating on its own private labels, Designer Brands has also purchased Topo Athletic. Wow. Adding offerings its performance athletics and outdoor categories. Look, DSW or Designer Brands, they're just doing it for money. That's all it is. They're not known for quality. That's it. Also, Designer Brands, after cutting more than 1,000 jobs in 2020, the company said last April that it wants to increase revenue from private labels. Last month, the company appointed Doug Howie become its new chief executive. Unbelievable. You see, when it comes to companies with the lowest, no integrity at all, no wonder these companies are just buying things left and right and not even care about quality. Now, don't get me wrong, there's also customers who buy their products. Maybe products that will only last you 1 to 2 years. But for Wolverine to even do this, man, Red Wings might be the only one that's gonna be staying alive. We'll see what happens. On to topic number 2 from Retail Dive. Canada Goose to double physical footprint over the next 5 years. Investing heavily to its direct-to-consumer strategy, luxury apparel brand Canada Goose plans to more than double its existing brick-and-mortar presence over the next 5 years. According to a press release Tuesday, the company currently operates 51 permanent stores globally. Wow, 51 stores. Didn't know about that. I didn't think it was that many. The brand plans to reach $3 billion in revenue by 2028, with growth expected to driven predominantly by its DTC channels and product category expansion. It aims to have DTC accounts for 80% of its total revenue. That is pretty good. Never relying on your wholesale accounts. Its channel made up more than 2/3 of total revenue in fiscal 2022. CEO Danny Rice announced during an Investor Day presentation on Tuesday that the brand would soon appoint its first digital officer. Wow. The position will be held responsible by all consumer-facing digital platforms and reportedly directly to CEO. So, number one, it's good that Canada Goose is expanding its store footprint, physical stores. Not only that, glad to hear that 80% of their revenue is coming from DTC or direct to consumers or their own physical stores, not just wholesale. And lastly, number 3 is that $3 billion by 2028. Does that include maybe downturn in economy? Maybe something else? Don't we prepare for anything emergency? Damn, that's pretty bold. So, adding to its non-existing stores in the country, Canada Goose plans opening stores in Seattle, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas in the first quarter of fiscal 2024. Wow, they don't have a store in Seattle? That's a disappointment. You would think that would be one of the first states for them to go at it. But let me guess, they don't want to go against the North Face, Patagonia, Columbia, Mountain Hardwear. It's pretty obvious that they don't want to go head to head with them in Seattle. Los Angeles, I would think they would have one by Los Angeles too. Las Vegas, all these stores are pretty obvious, but you're telling me you don't have stores over there? Well, no wonder. It's pretty obvious. So, later in the article, Canada Goose plans to expand its offerings over the next 5 years with goal creating more year-round relevance. The brand will continue to grow core cores such as heavy and lightweight downs. So they really want to compete with stores, like North Face, Patagonia, Cotopaxi, and even Stone Island. But Stone Island is definitely a niche for itself and also has its own subculture. People love Stone Island. But for Canada Goose to expand this much is pretty good to hear. Not only that, that's great that a Canadian brand is doing it pretty well, not just an American brand. Certainly, I'm shocked that certain cities don't even have Canada Goose stores. I mean, it's probably just wholesale store instead, but a retail store, they don't even have one in Los Angeles. They don't have one in Seattle. That's insane. But in any case, there's gonna be a lot of Canada Goose stores. Also, a lot of people are looking at Canada Goose. Don't get me wrong, Canada Goose are pretty warm jackets. So I'm glad that their items are performing pretty well out there. On to the third topic. Well, Vans is not doing so well. From retail.com, titled "To Rescue Vans, VF aims to replicate success at the North Face." So, total revenue Q3 revenue at VF Corp fell 2.6% to $3.5 billion, with Vans tumbling 13%, Dickies down 16%, Timberland flat, the North Face up 7%, wholesale fell 3%, and DTC revenue fell 2%. Though they are profitable, backband brands Kipling, Eastpak, and JanSport may be sold as a conglomerate. Evaluate strategic alternatives for that business, according to company press release. Man, this company owns so much. This conglomerate. Jeez. Also, in the quarter, adjusted gross margin contracted 140 basis points to 54.9%, mostly due to increased promotion. Net income fell 1.9% to $508 million. Wow. Honestly, I really don't understand why companies even sell their brands to VF Corp. Man, it's Dickies is owned by them, Timberlands is owned by them, Vans owned by them. I mean, you would think with these big companies, they'd be on their own, but apparently not. So, we will focus on near-term growth efforts on our existing portfolio, interim CEO Benno Durer told analysts during conference call Tuesday. Smart acquisition will remain part of VF playbook, but near-term we believe we are set to return a strong shareholder value creation by taking advantage of many opportunities offered by our portfolio of beloved brands, including those acquired in recent years. Well, here we go again. Shareholders. So what do I think of this? Honestly, it's not more of a Vans problem. I think it's more of a VF Corp issue. I honestly don't care about VF. I really do wish they go down. For a conglomerate not taking care of their brands, they probably don't even support them. Honestly, they don't even see consumers. They only see money. Now, I don't know how much they invested in these brands, but they need to invest each one of these brands and actually give them the integrity and the 100% support in terms of marketing, in terms of actual products that consumers care about, that consumers will actually care about in the long term and in the future. I mean, it seems like Dickies been going down lately. It's pretty obvious. Timberland, well, I mean, Timberlands, people only buy their shoes. They don't really care about their jackets, their clothes anyways, when people can just buy them in different brands, USA made brands or quality made brands. Also, Vans continues to be fundamentally strong brand. He also said the numbers of consumer buying Vans during the last 12 months was up, as was brand's advocacy. And many people buy the brands less often, so what do we need to do is fuel the brand more consistently and give more reasons to buy more Vans. By what? Designing the same old shoe again? Maybe getting a better designer? Maybe making a better collaboration? Maybe creating a better brand marketing to the correct demographics? I mean, how much Vans can go up? I mean, sooner or later, a brand will plateau. I mean, maybe this is why Supreme is doing so well, because it's quite limited, and they don't focus on a lot of marketing because the marketing is just word of mouth. Not only that, they don't saturate and they don't dilute their brands. I mean, it's ridiculous. So check this out. In a sentence in the paragraph, it says a test with 30% fewer SKUs at the Van store in Irvine led to a 12 percentage point bump in footwear sales. Gee, isn't that pretty obvious? Because you have less selection, more people can actually focus, and actually you don't have a lot of inventory, which takes less space in the store. I mean, I would think that's obvious, but a lot of these CEOs and a lot of these brand presidents don't really care. All they see is the numbers. On to the last topic from Retail Dive. Under Armour turns to athleisure wear for growth. Really, Under Armour? Maybe I'm just reading the title too quickly, but you're just now focusing on athleisure wear? As Under Armour prepares to change leadership this month, interim CEO Colin Brown on Wednesday praised incoming chief Stephanie Linnartz as an amazing executive and said she would bring a breath of fresh air into the brand. The brand Q3 recorded 3% revenue growth, pretty good, reaching $1.6 billion according to a company press release. Wholesale revenue about 53% net sales and was up 70%. DTC sales fell 1% to own store declines. Have you been to the Under Armour stores? They look ghetto, they look soulless. I mean, they look like you're in a mortuary. Inventory was up 50% in the quarter, reaching $1.2 billion. Executives stressed that while inventory is bloated, most of the product is current, and Under Armour plans to pack and hold some of it until next year. So, to showcase its lifestyle positioning, Under Armour is opening a pop-up in the Flatirron district of New York next week, which will not only show customers how its products can be worn for everyday uses, but also represents a different approach to retail. Under Armour. So, the problem here is one brand's relevancy and loyalty. In our view, while Under Armour's brand is certainly not terrible, it still lacks the clarity and desirability of strong brands like Lululemon, and that is correct. During difficult times, this makes it easier for consumers to avoid buying it or switch to cheaper alternatives. The company has already corrected some of its worst missteps and is still refining the brand and how it goes to marketing. See, it's pretty obvious that Under Armour stagnate. They did not innovate. They did not go to athleisure wear, which they should have. I mean, they had it. They were up and coming. They were cool. People loved them over Adidas and Nike over at some point. They even have Stephen Curry as the brand shoe ambassador with them. I mean, damn. I mean, they're starting to have it. But for some reason, they fell off. It could be the designer, but it's more like the leadership. The leadership sucks. And look what we have here. So you're telling me you're just now focusing on leisure wear. I mean, if you did, I mean, damn, you're nowhere to be seen. If you did turn into a leisure wear. But why focus on that leisure wear? Why can't you have a strong presence in the shoe brand? Why can't you have a strong presence in performance wear? In terms of athletes, promoting athletes. What about focusing on the gym products? What about innovating in terms of fabrics, in terms of actual performance wear, sponsoring somebody who wears Under Armour, whether it be out in the field, actually having to create and innovate products that people could understand, could be relevant, and consumer could see themselves wearing your brand. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Under Armour is not the same Under Armour that it used to be. I'm not even sure if Under Armour is the same Under Armour that it was used to be. But in any case, Under Armour has an uphill battle. Like I said, a lot of their stores are soulless. There's really nothing special about their stores. I wish their store was more of an experience instead of just a regular retail store. But we'll see what the CEO does, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of these CEOs even care about the Under Armour brand itself. And so that basically concludes this Mr. Informal Podcast 210. I hope you enjoy listening to me from beginning to end, and if you did, I do appreciate it. And I do appreciate if you learned something new. Maybe gave you some insights. Maybe you gave you some news that you never heard before. I really do appreciate it. And so please do not forget to add me on Instagram, MISTERINFORMAL, and then check out my website, mrinformal.com, MRINFORMAL.com. And so I will see you in the next podcast. Bye bye.